Hello. The purpose of this video is to kind of answer the question I get commonly, which is, what do I do if I just feel like my loss mitigation file is not moving forward at all and I have no idea what's going on? We're going to talk about lender escalations today. If you are a subscriber to my page, hello, welcome back. Good to see you. If not, make sure you subscribe and like the video here. That really helps get the information out to more homeowners who are kind of going through similar struggles. So we're going to talk about lender escalations. This is a situation where many homeowners get themselves in where they feel like their file is just stuck. The most common thing that I hear from new people I talk to is they're like, I submitted a loss mitigation package and I do not know what is happening. When I call in, my lender tells me that there's no new notes on my file. They can't tell what's going on. They tell me it's in review, but we can't really get any information about what's going on. And again, this applies for all loss mitigation options. So whether you're trying to work on a short sale, a loan modification, a forbearance plan, a repayment plan, or a deed in lieu, anything like that, you will at times run into a situation where you feel like your file is stuck, meaning the customer service representatives, when you call in, really don't have much information for you. They can't help you much with what's going on, and you just feel like things are kind of spiraling out of control because you don't know what's going on. So what you're going to want to do in this situation is what's called opening an escalation. That's the phrase that the lenders use on their end. It looks different depending on who your particular lender or servicer is, but overall you want to open an escalation. So the way to do that is to tell the customer service representative first your reasoning why. You want to get them on your side. You want to get them to want to help you. Getting really angry with the customer service representatives, being rude, telling them how badly it's been going in kind of an aggressive manner is not going to get you anywhere. I know that you guys feel frustrated. Trust me, I understand how frustrating it is to work with lenders. I work with them every day, and sometimes you feel like you're just going to lose it. But the number one thing to do when you want to open an escalation is to kind of get the customer representative to understand your individual experience and to feel compassionate for you and to want to help you, because they ultimately will be the people who will be opening these escalations. And so you want to make sure that they want to help you. And so one way to do that is to just really compassionately explain what you're going through. You can say something like, hey, I'm trying to save my home. I've been calling in every 48 hours trying to make sure that I know what's going on, to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can, and to make sure that I know exactly what the lender is doing. And these updates I'm receiving are just making me feel really nervous. They're making me feel like I don't know what's going on. And then you say, I think I need to open an escalation so I can get more information about what's happening. So explaining kind of how you feel, what's going on with you, that will help them want to help you. That will help them help you. And so opening a lender escalation often looks like the customer service representative is going to reach out to a supervisor. Now, there are kind of two categories of supervisors. There's the supervisor of the customer relationship manager that you're talking to, and then there's typically a supervisor in the loss mitigation department, like a supervisor of the short sale departments or supervisors in the loan mod departments. And so when it's your first time opening an escalation, it's okay to just go to the supervisor of the customer relationship manager, because your goal is just to get to somebody who has a little bit more authority, to get them to first reach out to those other supervisors in the loss mitigation department. I've talked about this in other videos, but you can't really talk directly to the underwriters who are working on the package. So you're really just trying to get to the first time you open an escalation, you're trying to get to one person who has a little bit more authority to help you. So you say to the customer service representative, I need to speak with a supervisor. If you've compassionately explained what you've been going through, they should be able to put you on hold and connect you with one of their supervisors. The benefit of getting to this supervisor is they're not going to be able to quickly tell you what's going on. It's not going to be that easy, but they're going to be able to reach out to somebody who can get the file going or tell you what's going on in a few days. And so you're just trying to get to this person with more authority that has a better communication channel to the people that you need. So let's say the customer service representative says, okay, let me put you on hold. I'll get a supervisor on the line. When the supervisor comes on the line, number one, they don't know anything about what happened with your call and your conversation with the customer service rep. So they are essentially new to the conversation. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you recap what's going on and what you're needing from them. So you want to start from the beginning. I submitted a loan modification package on this day. I've called in this many times. I'm being told this repeatedly. I don't feel like I have a ton of information about what's going on. If you kind of recap everything for them, that will help them get up to speed quickly. And then you want to just ask them to reach out and say, I need some assurance that this file is moving. I need there to be new notes placed on this file. Can you reach out to a supervisor in this loss mitigation department to make sure that this file is being worked on? And if that's what you ask of them, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be happy to help you and be like, absolutely. They don't have more information, but they do have the communication channel. So your goal there is just to get them to communicate and be able to transfer that information to the people that they need. Then the second little tip is you want to stay on the phone while they actually do that. Some supervisors will try to kind of rush you off the phone and say, okay, yeah, no problem, I'll reach out. And then they'll be like, bye, I'll do it right now. But you want to say, you know what, if it's okay with you, I'd prefer to just wait on hold while you actually complete that request. And that way you can kind of ensure that it happens and that they don't just quickly hang up and then kind of forget to do it. So that's kind of your first escalation. Hopefully that will resolve the issue. Hopefully you don't have to escalate anything further. Hopefully the next time you call in, there will be notes on the file. Somebody will have responded to your questions and everything will be moving forward. If you call in, 72 hours from that first escalation and your file feels like it's in exactly the same place that it was before, at that point, you're going to want to push hard for a supervisor in the loss mitigation department, meaning a supervisor of the actual underwriter that's handling your file, or a supervisor that you are able to be told has kind of more authority over these actual loss mitigation files. And to get to that person, sometimes, depending on the lender, you still have to go back through that channel of getting to the supervisor of the customer relationship manager and then getting from that supervisor to another supervisor. So this would be the time when you speak a little bit more firmly with the lender. Again, you always want to be polite. You always want to be, getting them on your side and letting them know that you're struggling instead of getting angry with them. But what you'll want to tell the customer service representative is, I already opened an escalation 3 days ago. I told your supervisor what I needed, and I still have not been able to receive any updates or any information about what's going on with my file. And then you tell them, so now I'm at a point where I actually need to speak to somebody a little bit higher up who handles, and then you say your service, right? So you say, I need to speak to somebody who is a supervisor in the whatever, short sale department, loan mod department. They will typically say, I have to give you to my supervisor first, so you can expect that. And then you can say, okay, that sounds fine. They'll transfer you to their supervisor. And then you, again, start from the beginning, repeat everything that's happened. Tell that supervisor that you already opened an escalation and that you need to speak with somebody with more authority in the loan modification or short sale or deed in lieu department, depending on what you're doing. That should be enough to get something flagged on the file that says you're having kind of a serious problem. So there's kind of 2 main levels of lender escalations. Usually the first level works well. If it doesn't, you want to always be talking to those kind of second level people. If they transfer you to a voicemail, you can just basically assume that that's not going to help. You don't want to be leaving voicemails, so you might want to tell either the first tier supervisor or the customer relationship manager that you are not interested in going to anybody's voicemail. If they tell you that a supervisor is not available, you want to make sure that the customer representative marks a note in the system that you asked for a supervisor. And then you kind of have to take it upon yourself to call in regularly and keep pointing them to the fact that you've been requesting supervisor help over and over and over again. You can't point back to something if it's not in the notes. So if they're telling you they can't do anything to help you that time that you call, you need to get it notated in your file that you asked for a supervisor. And then that way, when you call in the next time, you can point them and say, see, I asked for a supervisor and I wasn't given one. So those are just kind of generally like how you can get up to these upper tiers. The last kind of tip I wanted to say is, if lenders cannot give you the name or email address of a supervisor, which is pretty rare, they usually don't hand that out, you can always ask for a supervisor's first name, an employee ID number, and that's something you're going to want to write down because you want to know who's not getting back to you, who's not doing what they're supposed to do, so that as you kind of continue to escalate the file, you have as much information as possible. With all of this said, if you're in this situation where you're trying to open multiple escalations because your file is not moving, you might, instead of wanting to continue to try yourself, reach out for someone in your state to give you some help, because it does get kind of complicated and it does take a lot of time sitting on the phone, a lot of hold time. But generally, this is some good escalation information. If you're having trouble, either get help or get in there and battle them yourselves. Good luck.